Hello, this is Des of Des 360, and I am here to share with you some transformation tips. Now, today's tips are all about transforming your daily routine and some things that you can do so you can make a greater impact and make sure that you're staying on time, target, and on task throughout your day. When you think about your daily routine, there are some things that we do that over time, is not good time management, basically, right? And so when you're talking about transforming your life in terms of schedule or work-life balance, or just getting a hold of your day, being accountable to yourself and to your time, you have to consider that there are some things that you can do beforehand and prepare better so that you can have a better outcome as your day progresses, as your week progresses, and you'll find that you'll have more time to do the things that you enjoy doing. So one of the things that I started doing not only to save time, but to save money was making my coffee at home. Now, I know that we've heard this tip a million times over, and that's quite okay. But the fact is, I save quite a bit of money because anyone who knows me knows that I enjoy drinking coffee. I need at least 1 cup a day. Okay. And, it was such a hard challenge not to consume so much coffee, like when I was pregnant or even while nursing, because I like to drink coffee, but, it's not the best for the baby. So, it was quite a challenge. And because I was pregnant, kind of back to back, if you will, I had to really control that urge for coffee drinking. So I actually decreased my coffee intake because when I was teaching, I drank maybe 2 to 3 cups a day. As a matter of fact, I was over the coffee committee, honey, if it was such a thing. And let me tell you, I made sure that every day we had coffee. And if someone else volunteered to make the coffee, if it was not made by the time I got to the school, then I would be texting them like, hey, are you making coffee this morning? Because if not, I can go ahead and get it started for you. We can start getting this coffee going because, I needed it, right? So for me, when you think about it, even if I went to, say, McDonald's, right, and I got like the dollar coffee off the dollar menu or whatever, in 30 days, I would have spent $30 on coffee. Well, now that I make my coffee at home, I don't know how much I spend, but I know it's way less than $30 because I buy the coffee in bulk. I buy the creams and things like that I like, and hey, I can make it at home, and I'm also saving time. I cut on my Keurig, get the water heating up. I put the little K-cup in there, and I'm started, and I'm saving time and money. Now, there are some other small things that we could do to kind of be more productive throughout our day and to transform the time that we are given in a day. We're all given 24 hours in a day, and I just want to make sure that you have some tips that will help you transform your day. So, I like to stay on time, on target, and on task. So I've written down some notes, as I like to do, so I can stay on time, on target, and on task so that I don't, get distracted. So I'm going to look down for a minute because I want to go over the tips with you. One of the first tips is to make sure that you are scheduling your day. So like right now today, before I close out my day, I'll actually schedule for my tomorrow so that when I get up in the morning, I can hit the ground running. Sometimes I forget to schedule or I don't necessarily have the time to schedule. And so what ends up happening is I wake up not really knowing my purpose for the day. Like it's so many things, swimming around in my mind. But, when you're like that, it's stuff everywhere. You go from one thing to the next. You're opening and reading mail that you didn't check last week. You're sending an email out. You start the email, it's a draft now, you don't finish it, that kind of thing. And so I find that when I make my schedule the day before, and then and then when I wake up the next day, I'm better prepared for the day. So you want to make sure that you're scheduling your day a day ahead. And if you're really good, a week out. And then the other thing is decluttering your desktop. So if you work from home or wherever you work and you actually have a desk, say, for example, when I was teaching, I would not leave my classroom until my desk was set a certain way. And that's so, when I walk in, there's a certain level of continuity, a certain level of organization that I feel like I can walk in with a fresh start every day. If I walked in and I found that, I can see papers that I hadn't graded, on my desk from the day before, and knowing that I'm going to get more papers today, it would kind of be overwhelming. It would kind of throw me off a little bit. And as a matter of fact, it brings me to my third step, which is to get rid of distractions. And what I mean by that, like, let's face it, if I walk in and I see something from the next day that I didn't finish and I have a whole new list of things to do, that will probably be more of a distraction for me than to actually get started on what I planned for that day. So get rid of distractions. That's the first thing. So if you declutter your desk or your work area, then that will help you stay on target, task, and on time with the things that you have planned for the current day. The other thing that you want to do as far as distractions is to get rid of your cell phone notifications. So for me, So cell phone notifications are not a big issue for me, but if you're like my daughter and my husband, like the little bubbles, it bothers them. Like they even try to clear the bubbles on my phone, and I'm like, yeah, I see the bubbles, but the bubbles aren't bothering me. So if you're one of the people where the little notification bubbles are bothering you, then get rid of them. That means before you start, go ahead and, read the text messages, check the emails, get rid of the bubbles, okay? So get rid of the bubbles. The next thing you want to do, chunk down your project. If you're working on a project or you have a big lofty goal, then you want to go ahead and chunk it into smaller manageable goals, right? So if you have, say you're planning an event, right? We all know that planning an event takes time, and talent and treasure, right? So if you don't have all three of those things in alignment, then it's going to take you even more time to figure out how to produce the project. Well, that's where you come in, where it comes in, where you can actually chunk down the things into smaller sections. So maybe finding a venue first, right? Because finding a venue is not an easy task, especially if you're working and operating off of a budget. So you want to make sure you're finding a venue. Then you want to have someone, are you going to get a caterer? What kind of food are you going to have? Are you going to have someone to come in and decorate? What about attendees? Will people be attending the event? How will they get notified of the event? What about invitations? How long is the event? What kind of event is this? What is the purpose and the intent of the event? Okay, so all those things, you want to chunk those things down into smaller, more manageable items so that you can actually be more effective instead of kind of being overwhelmed by and over inundated by all the things that you have to do and kind of find yourself all over the place. Okay. The other thing is figure out what you need to outsource. I talked a lot about this in the last video that I did. And you want to make sure that you are outsourcing the things that you're not capable of doing. So, for example, if we use the same example and you're having an event, and you know that even if you can't cook, you don't want to cook for this event. So you're going to outsource the food for your event to a caterer. You're going to make sure that you find a reliable caterer who is up to code and all the other specifications for your event. And then you want to also make sure that, if you're having a florist, are you going to go to the local grocery store to get your flowers? I mean, some grocery stores have nice flowers. Don't knock grocery store flowers. They're always nice. Well, not always. Most of the time. They're nice. They have a good variety. But are you really going to be bothered with that when you're trying to oversee an entire event? So those types of things. And then the other thing you want to do, let's see which other one I want to give you. You want to make sure that you are reviewing your goals. So as you set the goals and you're chunking them down, you want to make sure that you are reviewing the goals that you have in place. Okay, make sure you're reviewing the goals, because if you're just working and working and working, you're not, checking off what you're doing, checks and balances, what still needs to be done, what's outstanding, what's on hold, then you're going to find yourself in a situation where it's almost like you didn't even create the smaller goals. You're overwhelmed with the process. And then another thing you can do in order to change the small things, in order to make a transformation in your life as far as your time management, is to create routine. So you want to create like a morning routine. So, whatever that is for you, you wake up, you pray, you shower, you brush your teeth, you get your coffee, you make your breakfast, you're out the door. How long does it take for you to do that? Do you eat the same thing every day? Do you have those items in the house, or are you then running around? Is your uniform out if you wear a uniform? That type of thing. Another thing you could do is to help you create time is to review your budget. So knowing what your financials are like. So if you are trying to, go grocery shopping, right? If you have a set budget for your groceries, you don't want to spend time making a list in the store shopping and then you get up there and you're over your budget. That doesn't really make sense. So review your budget. Know that it's the same. If you've spent more money in one area this month than you have in, last month, and you have to do more groceries or less groceries, or, your expenses have changed a little bit, then you want to make sure that you are being accountable to your budget. Okay, so these are just a couple of transformation tips. I'm not even sure how many I gave, but you want to make sure that you are staying on task, target, and time with your life. So as such, I want you to make sure that you are changing something small every day in order to make a greater impact later on in your life. And some of those things, you'll actually see the impact right away. So I ask you, what are some things you can change in your life today? Small things that'll make a great impact. Challenge yourself. Let me know what you do.